I'm Dion Fuller. I'm an associate professor at the Edwards School of Business and research, co-op research chair, co-op governance research chair at the Center for the Study of Co-ops. And was it about 2 years ago now, you first reached out to me, Yohanan, to come and do a global study, scholarship study abroad program as a visiting PhD student. And I was really excited about your research because it's really relevant to some of the things that we do at the center. And so Yohanan is a lecturer and also a PhD student at Hawassa University in Ethiopia, and has also been doing some interesting kind of work to try and create partnerships as well with universities in Canada, and then particularly your university with the University of Saskatchewan. So it's been great to kind of foster and facilitate that connection. And also just another thing that he was selected when he first came here to go to Ottawa and represent some of the PhD students who were chosen for this scholarship. So back in February it was. And he went there and got to meet with other students who were part of this program, as well as leaders, government and policymakers. And I think you really enjoyed that. So it was nice you got to see more of the country as well while you were here. And we're also sad that he's leaving in 2 weeks. So thank you very much. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add about sort of your background. Please feel free to do so. But thank you for being here and thank you for preparing this presentation.
Yohanan gave us a bit of his story.
Oh, good. Okay.
So, but you may want to add something if you want to.
I have already introduced myself to the audiences, but to say something again, thank you very much, my supervisor, Professor Dr. Dani. I'm working with her. I'm so happy. I went to USA, but I never been in Canada, but I stayed for 5 months. I enjoyed a lot. I read a lot of books. I accessed the library of the university. I downloaded more than 200 books. I'm taking to my home.
Very good.
And I accessed the library, and I made friends from Africa, from Europe, from Canada. Canada are very inclusive country, democratic country, developed country. I want to, everything what you see is a lesson for your future. And I experienced it not only formal education, I also get informal education from my stay. And I'm so happy with the people of the Canadian people. Since I'm working both as a lecturer, academician, and I'm working as an admin staff in my university. I'm a director for the international relations. Now I am, so it's good for me to see many things from different perspectives. I'm so happy. Also, I also invested myself. I spend most of my time on academic issues. So I'm so happy. As Professor Dani said, I'm working. I came here as a visiting scholar through Study Canada scholarship, and I visited Ottawa. I'm selected among the top PhD students from the University of Saskatchewan. One from Nigeria, one from Ethiopia, and we visited very historical, the parliament, different historical places in Ottawa. So it's a good opportunity. I had a good opportunity to see both the capital and also the University of Saskatchewan. So this is something that I can add from my previous introduction. So shall I proceed to my presentation? Okay, thank you. My presentation focuses on more of the cooperative regulation and governance aspect, and I want to show you some of the experience of cooperatives in Ethiopia, and most of the things of my presentation focus on governance aspect and the regulation aspect, but I will try to show the historical backgrounds of cooperatives in Ethiopia, and also I will present on also the contributions of cooperatives in Ethiopia, very important. So I will present on these contributions because I visited some of the Canadian experience also. So I will have some summary and conclusions. But very importantly, before going to the detail of the cooperatives, I want to say something about Ethiopia in brief. And Hawassa University. I love Hawassa University very much. I'm working there. And also, it's very important for you to know about Ethiopia. This is the national flag of the Ethiopia country. Ethiopia located in the eastern part of Africa. And it's the neighboring countries, Kenya, Somalia, Yemen, Somalia, Eritrea, and Uganda. These are the neighboring countries of Sudan, which is located in the eastern Africa. Ethiopia is slightly a bigger country, which we have more than 120 million people. And it is the second populous country in Africa, next to Nigeria. Nigeria is the first country. Next, Ethiopia is a populous country. And the total area of the country is 1,100,000 kilometers square. And we do have different ethnic and linguistic groups in the country, more than 18, which we have diverse ethnic groups. And it is known by its different linguistic and ethno-linguistic diverse regions. The capital of Ethiopia is Addis Ababa. Most of you heard that Addis Ababa is the seat of different international organizations. Even the headquarters, African Union, is situated in Ethiopia. And we do have a UN and ECA, Economic Commission for African Organizations, and others. They are situated in Addis. And Addis is the third diplomatic country in the world, next to New York and Brussels, because there are a lot of African international organizations that are situated in Addis Ababa. That's why Ethiopia is the third diplomatic. Addis is the third diplomatic city. So there are a lot of diplomats in my capital city, in Ethiopia. Also, Ethiopia is a place origin for coffee bean. Coffee comes from, the name even comes from coffee, Kaffa. There is a region, a place called Kaffa. So it is the origin of coffee bean. Somebody is coming.
Oh, they're just kidding.
No, okay. So its origin for coffee bean. And also Ethiopia has its own calendar. Unlike other countries, we do have 13 months.
13 months.
13 months.
Wow. I
So,
want 14.
the last 13 months is 5 and 6 days. All are 13 days. All are 13 days, and the last 13 months is it is called Agume in Ethiopia. It is 6 or 5 days always.
Right.
So we do have 13 months calendar. So it is different from Gregorian calendar.
Yeah.
So we have our own calendar. It's 13 months of sunshine. Always, we do not experience snow. It's for first time for me to see even snow for the months in Canada. So when I say this much about Ethiopia, this is about our university. This is the main gate of our university. Our university won a Green Matrix award. It is very green. We do have a lot of trees in the main campus. It's a very green university. And we do have 7 campuses. All are green. This is the gate of the university. This is some of the landscape and walkway design of my university. That building is a building of my office. But these are some of the green areas. But when I present about some of the present capacity of my university, it is one of the first generation university in Ethiopia. And it is associated as a research university by the federal government. and it hosts more than 30,000 students enrolled, both undergraduates, postgraduates, PhD. And also we do have more than 11,000 staffs, both academics, expatriates. We do have expatriate staffs working from, they came from Europe, India, Africa. We do have admin and health professionals. So these are some of the present capacity of the university. This is the main campus. That is the staff buildings where the professors and doctors exist. This is the head office. This is the staff buildings. The staff buildings at the main campus. Many professors exist in this building. This is the Institute of Technology, which connects both the main campus and the Institute of Technology. This is the Hawassa campus where Business and Economics College exists. So it is around 40 kilometers from the main campus. It's also now fast growing campus. And there is also Department of Cooperatives under this college. This is the Medicine and Health Science College. It is next to the lake Hawassa. In Hawassa city, there is a lake. So the referral hospital in the health science exists near to the lake of Hawassa, and it is also one of the biggest campus of our university. This is a forestry campus. It is known in East Africa by its forestry education. Many people, students graduate from this forestry. It is also one of the beautiful campus of Hawassa University. This is College of Agriculture, where we have started our collaboration from with the University of Saskatchewan. It is at the center of the city, which is, you can also see the lake, but these are the center of the city, Hawassa. So it's the oldest college. Now, Mr. Dagim is also from that college. He's a PhD student. So it's the oldest college. We professors, they started a collaboration from this college, both Hawassa University and University of Saskatchewan. This is head office, where my office is in the first floor, because the president, the vice president, the directors, they all are in this building. This is also one of the places of my university. These are the PhD classes in our university, some of the classes, rooms. This is a library. We have a very big library in the university, very green, as you can see it. This is some of the meeting halls. Also, we do have a very beautiful meeting halls in Hawassa University. We host graduation also here in these buildings. Also, concerning partnership, we do have more than 145 partnerships from Africa, Canada, Asia, Europe, and some 2 Arab countries. So in terms of partnership also, we are doing well compared to other universities in Ethiopia, Hawassa University. This is all about Hawassa University. Now let me say something, go to about cooperatives. In Ethiopia, historically, when we see cooperatives, Ethiopians, they are known by living in a cooperation. And we have a long history of practicing the cooperative lives in Ethiopia. Especially Ethiopia, it has cultural cooperatives, traditional cooperatives, well known from all in the northern part, in the eastern, the western. They are living together in a cooperation, and the common cooperatives in Ethiopia now existed everywhere. The traditional and these are the cultural cooperatives are ECO. ECO is it is a financial cooperatives. The people, they mobilize resources and distribute to the members on rotating basis. And it is a financial traditional cooperatives. Very known, very known. If you go everywhere, these traditional cooperatives exist in Ethiopia. IDIR is also, it's an insurance. It's an association of people which provides social economic insurance for the members. And it is most of the time as an accident, at the days when there is damage to property, people, they form a kind of traditional insurance in the form of association, and they distribute that money during materialization of those accidents. But there are other forms of associations, but these two are the most common. The one focus on the financial part, which people contribute money and they distribute to themselves on a rotating basis. But what makes different IDIR as an association is that if there is an accident, if there is damage to property, they mobilize money for that days. The history, in Ethiopian history, it's the modern emperor, Emperor Haile Selassie, who for the first time introduced a cooperative regulation in my country. And he started in between 1915 and 1974. During these days, the prominent societies or cooperative societies were producers and service cooperatives. And it is this emperor who come up with different policy and laws and played important role in the economic and social development of cooperatives in Ethiopia. It's the first decree is decree number 1461, and next he also enacted a proclamation in 1966, which its number is 241. Upon this promulgation or enactment of this decree, that these cooperatives, they got formal legal status for the first time in Ethiopia. Before that, it was a cultural and a traditional cooperatives. But formally, they got recognition after the enactment of the 1961 proclamation. But they, again, very importantly, in 1978, the cooperative proclamation was adopted in line with their objectives. Cooperatives, they are understood lately in Ethiopia after 1978, and due to their legality also acknowledged by the Federal Democratic Republic Constitution after 1991, after the enactment of the Constitution. So it is lately that they are recognized formally by the law. When we see the Federal Cooperative Agency official reports, currently in Ethiopia, we do have more than 92,000 cooperatives in Ethiopia, which with a member of 21 million, more than 21 million, 40,000 members. Out of them are 6 million, more than 6 million are females, and 14 millions are male. Also, we do have a lot of cooperative unions, more than 131. Still, their membership is much smaller when compared to their huge potential. But it's now they are growing because it's almost now becoming 100,000 cooperatives. So it's now the figure shows the federal, the highest authority of the cooperative agency shows us that it's reached around 92,000 cooperatives.
Yohanan, just a quick question: is that the legal number of cooperatives, like the number of legal cooperatives, or all
the cooperatives,
all the cultural
in the
ones?
country?
Okay.
The country formally registered under the federal registry.
Okay.
They are expected to be registered under Federal Cooperative Agency.
Why is there such a discrepancy in the male to female ratio?
Yeah, the females are 6 million, and the males are, most of them, they are agricultural cooperatives. So most of the time, the land is occupied by the male.
Okay.
That's why the number also increase.
Right.
But when we see the SACCOs, the number of females is greater than
Oh, okay.
the male,
The financial cooperative.
Financial.
because
Savings.
but for the agriculture, it's, when we see the total, it's
Yeah.
the agriculture which dominates
Mm.
part. When we see the SACCOs, the number of the SACCOs are around 21,000, and their members is around 5,003,804,000. Out of them, the 3 millions are females. The 3 millions are females, and the 2 millions are males, because most of the times these low income producers are females than the male. And the share is almost 18 billion Ethiopian dollar. It's almost $500 million US dollar. So still the Saving and Credit Association SACCOs, they are also growing very well in Ethiopia. So this is the governing law of cooperatives in Ethiopia. It is a recent proclamation which is enacted with the involvement of different professionals. It is enacted in 2016, repealing the previous 1991 proclamation. And this is the highest authority, governing authority in Ethiopia so far as cooperatives. It's the federal cooperative agencies. Ethiopia follows a federal governance structures. We do have a federal government, we do have a regional government, but at a federal level, the federal level agency, the federal cooperative agency, it controls both the regional federal cooperative agencies, but the highest authority which regulates and empowered by the proclamation is the federal cooperative agency. So this is the highest authority. It gives the final decision for the so far as cooperative issues in Ethiopia. So according to the constitution and the proclamation, the cooperative law of the country, it is a federal cooperative agency which is empowered with highest authority. When we see the structures of cooperative societies in Ethiopia, cooperative can be formed as a single entity, and they can also be formed as a union in Ethiopia. When two primary and more primary cooperative, when they join, they can also form a union. There are different agricultural unions, cooperative unions in Ethiopia. So they are formed with 2 or more primary agricultural cooperatives. Also, there are federations. Also, these unions at a bigger level, they can form a federation. And but also at a national level, they can also form a league. So the structure is that it can start from a single cooperative up to union and federation up to league. So these are the structures they can form cooperatives in my country. Concerning the supreme organs of the cooperative society, I know most of you know it, that the cooperatives, they do have General Assembly. The General Assembly, according to the proclamation of cooperative proclamation, it is empowered with the supreme organ. As a supreme organ of the cooperative society, they can pass decisions, different, even enact. They can amend the laws of the internal regulation of the cooperatives, elect, dismiss this management committee, control committees. They can determine the share. Again, they decide annual net profits of the cooperatives, and they give also decisions for the audit reports, reports, and give proper decisions. So this is the highest authority according to the proclamation of the cooperative proclamation. So the General Assembly is empowered as the supreme organ of the cooperative society. And very importantly, again, when we see the governance aspects of these cooperatives, these management committees, there are management and control committees. The management committees, they are accountable to the General Assembly, but they are prepare annual work plan, budget and implement, approve the activities of the cooperatives, and they are loyal or responsible to the General Assembly. Also, their election differs from one cooperative to another because it is determined by the laws of the cooperative, by its internal regulations. Control committees, very importantly, there are three members of control committee, which is accountable again to the General Assembly. But these control committees, the role is they control the management committee's activities, every activity. So they are specialists of something, profession, some industry, from government body. Most of the time the practice shows that these control committees, they come from the administrative of the region, maybe appointed as a control committee of the certain big cooperatives. So what I see, I was talking to my professor, with Professor Diane, even the political party leader, he wants us to be the member of the control committee because he can control the management committee. Mm-hmm. So they want to interfere the cooperatives in a different way. So this is one of my research. What now I'm looking for from the circles from my region is that there are big circles in my region, but even the head of the party, the ruling party, he is one of the control committee member. We want to, because there are some payments, even he want to intervene the cooperatives, so he want to control the farmers, so he wants that position. So I'm looking that through my research. Because according to the proclamation, it's only 3% who can, any society they shall have not around 3 control committees.
Are the are the control committee members also members of the cooperative? Can they be non-members? It sounds like maybe because the political.
Yes, non-members.
They're non-members.
But the management committee is members.
The management committee's members.
Yeah, management, they are the members.
They're the members.
But these are,
Non-members.
since they control the management members, they are most of the time from the industry.
Yeah, but they're not members. They're not.
They are
members,
not,
they're not
yeah, they are not the
SACCO
members.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
So basically, there's an administrative and sometimes political control, or like a control committee that consists of region administrators or politicians or leaders that controls the elected management committee of the co-op.
Yes,
Crazy.
yeah.
So there's no autonomy. Really.
Yeah, it affects the autonomy of
Yeah.
the cooperatives. Yeah,
Huh. And that's all structured in law.
yeah.
Like the legal framework sets this up,
The
or the bylaws within the cooperative. That set
yeah,
this up?
the purpose of the law is to bring qualified control committees from different industry. From like the law expects us to come professional from university, from industry.
But these are in law. This is in law.
But the law allows them. Since the law allows them, they want to interfere.
Oh, the law allows them, but does it prescribe a control committee? Do you know what I mean by prescribe? Does it require
Okay.
a control committee, or is that just something they opt to do? They choose to create a control committee.
It says the number and manner of election shall be specified by the
But-
bylaws of the society.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the regulation, the law of the cooperatives might allow such kind of person to be the control committee, but they can close by their internal regulation. But the influence, the practice in my country is quite different. We were discussing with Professor Diane. It is the politicians, even they want us to be the member of the control committee because they want to control big cooperatives under their political sphere. Okay, if we say this much about governance committees, cooperatives in Ethiopia, they are playing a very active role in finance, in input-output marketing, consumer goods. Again, in a consumer goods, they are also playing a great role in agro-processing, in mechanizations, and other social activities. Their number is increasing. When we see the contribution in general, I think, let me go firstly. They are playing a very important role especially in economic growth, poverty reduction, and even democratization. They are playing. The literature shows that they are playing a very active role in distributing agricultural inputs, and again providing improved technologies. The cooperatives, they are playing an important role. They are also encouraging farmers to produce high-value crops. Most of the time, they are providing high-value value crops, and they are playing an active role. Also, they are playing a very important role in maintaining the price of the price of floor for the commodities they market. So they are playing a very important role in this aspect. Also, they are playing a very important role in creating market opportunities for different people. Especially, they achieved a very good result in coffee production, and sesame and grain, animal products, milk products. They effectively marketed in Ethiopia. And also, very importantly, these cooperatives, they played indirect and direct employment opportunities. They created for different people, for their members and for non-members, for outsiders. They created a very important economic benefits, job opportunities to the members. And they created, according to the federal report, cooperative reports, they created around 2 million job opportunities. Around 1,987 employment opportunities were created by cooperatives in Ethiopia. So also they created, they engaged in product processing, value addition, and they benefited the members. Also, very importantly, so there are some political and economic disturbance in my country. Still, these cooperatives, they were playing, they overcome the shortage of foreign currencies. For few months, the big companies were closed, but still, at that time, these cooperatives, they were earning very significant amount of foreign currency because the government allowed them to export their items with a very reduced tax. So they overcome foreign currency problem in my country. So still their role is very great in my country in terms of overcoming foreign currency problem. So their role is very important in terms of even this political and economic war in my country. Also, they benefited the householders. They invested in children's education, covering health expenses. So their benefit is very important. And also, they invested on social services because the proclamation required them to invest 5% of their income on social services. So they played an important role in increasing the social capital of the community because according to the law, they are required to invest 5% on social services. When we see in summary, they played a very important role in the socio-economic development of the country to the members, and they provided different benefits, food, income, and they improved the lifestyle and the social participation, and even especially in agriculture, it played important role in my country. And they played a very important role in poverty reduction, economic growth, and also they play a very crucial role in economic, social development of the country. Thank you. I thank you very much.
really interesting, Yohanan, also because I really didn't, even though in our conversations I didn't have as much institutional context as you just provided. So this was really helpful in thinking about sort of what you're focusing on in your research. So I'm wondering if you could share with everyone what your sort of primary research question is on SACCOs, because you kind of alluded to it, but I think people will find it really interesting,
Okay.
like what you want to focus on.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That's okay, you could just say
Just
it.
tell us.
Yeah, just tell us.
Yeah. I'm focusing on the SACCOs in the Sidama region.
Savings and credit cooperative
Save-
organization.
Like
save-
yeah.
Yeah. In Ethiopia, we do have 11 regional states. I'm living on Sidama regional state, which is one of the southern region of Ethiopia. In that region, it is a new region. Previously, it was in another region. Now it's a new region, and there are 4 urban administrations centers. So in these urban administrations, there are SACCOs. So I want to investigate their governance aspect, and I want to see how these management committees are appointed, how they are working. I want to see, and that are my objectives. And I want to previously I want to see also their communication, but now later on when I'm discussing with Professor Diane, I'm especially focusing on their governance aspect. It's a huge part of investigation. That's why I adjusted all my objectives, focusing on the governance aspect. Now I already finished the chapter 1 and chapter 2, and now I'm working on the methods. Now after that I will go and collect data after.
And so this, I think you raised it in your presentation here, that interesting dynamic in governance between the management and the control committee, I think is going to be a really interesting thing to come out of this. Are you going to be able to interview people on both committees, management and control committees?
Yes,
oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. One of my informants are both from the management committee, from General Assembly, and from control committees. I select by purposefully the SACCOs, the big SACCOs in my region. So I will interview. I will also make some focus group discussion with the members of the SACCOs in my region.
Do you have a sense of what the democratic, you mentioned democratic, spreading democratic norms, how much do the members participate in their cooperatives? Is there active participation, or is it?
Concerning, sorry.
So in a SACCO, any given SACCO, would they have a general assembly? How many people, what share of the membership are showing up to participate in that part of the process?
Yeah, it depends on the types of the SACCOs, but according to my information, it's more than 100. Most of them, the members of the General Assembly are more than 100, because most of them are, it's in urban cities. There are a lot of SACCOs, but their members are more than 100.
And so so each SACCO has more than 100 members. How many of those members of each SACCO would show up to the General Assembly meetings? Do you know?
Yeah, according to, it depends on the laws of the SACCOs, the regulation. Most of the time, if it is more than 3/4 of their number, they would conduct meetings. But if it is less than 3/4 of the number, they would not.
The
Oh, so
quorum,
they
it's
need
quorum rule.
quorum rule.
Yeah.
They need 75% to be able to
75.
have
That's a
their
big
meeting.
quorum.
Do they get quorum?
Yeah, but they call the members through different ways, but the number should not be less than 70%.
How do they get them to the meeting? Do they offer food or?
Yeah. Yeah, but why, like, what, are people really engaged in coming to the meeting, or do they have to incentivize people to come to the members to come to the meeting?
Yeah, most of the time the decision passed by the General Assembly are very crucial, and it's most of the time it's annually.
Yeah, annual. Yeah.
Annually. So they pass a lot of decision, approve the audit report, the budget plan,
Yeah.
everything. That's why the members, they can delegate other person to come to the meeting.
Oh.
The law allows them to delegate.
Oh,
But most of the time, if the number is less than 75%, they would not conduct the meeting. So even some big cooperatives, they used to call through national TV the members to come.
also advertise
Yeah,
to
they
tell them to come.
advertise, yeah, through local TVs, local radios. They can use different communication channels to call the members to come to the meeting.
So if you're saying a big co-op, how big are like on average the ones that you say very big, how
Yeah.
many members will it be having?
Mhm.
What
The
is
ones
big?
you're saying big co-ops, how many members will they be having
Yeah.
on average?
Uh,
Because you say that there are some big cooperatives that actually do advertisements on TV.
yeah.
So I'm wondering like on average.
How many
How
members
many
are in the big
members?
co-ops?
What is big?
What's big?
Yeah, for instance, Sidama Coffee producing as cooperatives, if they have around 1,000 members.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, so they used to call through the different radios, and it's a coffee. The region is a coffee producing area. That's why there are big coffee producing cooperatives in that region.
do people have to travel far for the meetings?
Yeah, but it's not more than it's like 70, 60 kilometers
Oh, right, because it's just in the region.
within the region. Yeah.
That's far.
Okay.
Yeah, just a question, because I'm from Kenya, so I'm kind of learning a bit about cooperatives, and we do have, like, how I see cooperatives in Kenya is basically an East African thing. Is a lot of presence in the financial sector or agricultural sector, but do we see cooperatives having sort of like social movement and engaging in governance? Because it's kind of like in Kenya, what I've observed is businesses are different. So you see them doing their stuff, and governance that we talk about in cooperatives is much more internal, but then we don't move them around to play an active role in terms of the politics and the governance of the country. So how do we see the Ethiopian structure? Do we find there are areas where there is some sort of cooperatives converting themselves into social movements and engaging in governance?
Yeah, as said, this most of the time in Ethiopia, the businesses, they are not free from politics. The politics enters into the business of the cooperatives in a different way. Even there are active members of the cooperatives who are doing their business, also involved in politics of the country. So it's not free from the political interventions, but in terms of other cooperatives, the SACCOs, the saving, that they are better in terms of their autonomy, because most of the activities are financial issues, and also, as you can see, the number of cooperatives the SACCOs are dominated by the females. Females are in my country are somehow less active in politics than males. They focus on specific activities. So I think SACCOs are doing better than others. But when we see this, especially the agricultural cooperatives, they are dominated by the male, and the politics is highly involved. So I see just as the influence of the politics.
So your hypothesis is that the greater involved, when there's more politicians or political aspects involved in the co-op in terms of the country's politics, that the co-ops generally don't do as well as when there's more autonomy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. For instance, for example, if you want to take agriculture inputs, you need to go to the government office. So the agricultural cooperatives, they should work with the government agricultural offices. So they are directly involved with the politicians. But SACCOs, since it's financial issues, it's less likely. It is through like control committee, somebody can come and affect the SACCO. It's not direct.
Right.
It's not. There is no direct accountability or connections without of the government. They don't have the direct connection with the government. But for agricultural cooperatives, for getting technology, materials, input items, you need to directly go to the government channel.
So, Johan, in Canada, in the United States, most kind of developed countries, banking is highly regulated, so
Yeah.
like more than almost any other sector of the
Yeah.
economy. So government is very involved, but from a prudential perspective, to
Okay.
make sure that the banking system is resilient, not prone to crises. How much is the government, is there a regulatory body, or is the control committee effectively the regulatory body in the SACCO?
Yeah.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting, because then also a related question in kind of developed countries, credit unions, banks, because they're plugged into the payment system, which is the transfer of obligations from one individual to another across banking entities. Like that's when I write a check to Dion, it flows and she sees at another bank or credit union, it flows through these pipes basically, and it's ends up in her account. That process is part of the reason banks are highly regulated, is because they are involved in that process. And that means that every time they create a loan, they create new money.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that, I'm wondering how it works with the SACCOs. Are they strictly taking my deposits and lending it to Dion? Is that how it works? Like we call this the financial intermediary perspective.
Yeah.
But modern banking systems don't work that way.
Yeah.
So it's important to understand how they fund what they do. I'm curious what they, and that because that implicates regulation.
So you're saying, are they locally constrained just to like taking deposits and borrowing within the membership group, and they're not engaged in any kind of
They're kind of closed loop systems.
systems.
And they operate in a very traditional, like small scale lending way, like in the sense that Stan lends me money to buy food or drinks at the receptions, which is actually true. So Stan takes $10 out of his pocket and gives it to Marc Andre.
Yeah.
And we've established a loan relationship.
Yeah.
But in a banking system, like a modern banking system, like Canada, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
They don't go and take Stan's money and lend it to Marc Andre.
Yeah.
They create new money when they make a loan. And
Yeah.
because they're involved in this money creation process, it invites all sorts of regulatory scrutiny.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it works that way in Ethiopia, but I'm curious if it does or not.
Yeah, I understood your question. For the saving and credit unions, what is their the good thing is that they can decide by their own internal regulation. But if we see banks, formal banks, the government has already set the loan rate. There is maximum for them. The National Bank of Ethiopia regulates already the modern banks in a separate way. But the good thing about these saving and credit unions, they can set their own internal rule.
Yeah.
And they can flexibly serve the
Right.
people.
Sure.
So it's like a separate system outside. They're not connected to the banking system at all, except that they would be using the local currency or even the foreign currency that they're bringing in, and using that in terms of this local lending and activity.
Yeah,
Huh.
that's a very good thing. Also, for instance, I know some women loan associations.
Yeah.
They give loan with a very low rate
Yeah.
because their internal regulation allows
Right.
them to do so.
So they're essentially rotating savings associations.
Associations,
basically.
yeah.
Like called SACCOs.
Yeah, that's a big
But you
advantage.
can't, so like one of the defining moments in credit union history in Canada is when I could write a check on my credit union account and deposit at somebody else's, with somebody else's bank.
Yeah.
It's like I could pay someone and they could go and deposit in the bank. The minute you do that, the minute you create these movable funds,
Yeah.
you invite all this regulatory scrutiny.
Yeah.
But it sounds like they're still separate.
Separate.
Yeah.
That's very neat.
Yeah.
That's advantage of them.
It
Yeah.
would also be interesting because to your research question, if you're saying that the agricultural co-ops have more scope for the political interference because of the way, but you're focused on SACCOs, and so it might be interesting to kind of think about SACCOs that have these control committees and look at comparisons across different SACCOs where the control committee has more politicians or more political influence
Yeah.
or control versus ones that don't,
Right.
and look at the outcomes, right? Like, so pick similar size large SACCOs
Yeah.
and say
Comparison.
this, if you could find variation on that control committee composition,
Yeah.
and then look at the outcomes or look at how governance works or the dynamics work, and then the outcomes of those SACCOs of relatively similar sizes within this same region, but they have different kinds of composition of their control committee. Like this one has more politicians
Yeah.
and this one has less, right?
Yeah.
That would be kind of neat, I think,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
sort
oh,
of
for sure.
look
Yeah,
at.
and
I
nicely
will
defined.
compare. I will
Yes,
compare the
that-
composition
That would
Yeah,
be really
a
neat.
couple of case studies.
case studies. Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm gonna have to go
Yeah.
soon because we gotta get Carl to his talk.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
Really
for your
interesting.
attention.
Yeah.
Thank you.